Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, I rise to support this bill because this is already an act by the force of the ordinance. I think this bill was long overdue because the open sky policy was announced by the government in 1990, and it is 4 years since the taxi operators in India operated illegally because the Air Corporations Act was in force. The monopoly clause was there in the statute. Section 18 of the Air Corporations Act does not permit any other operator to operate in our country. It was the monopoly of our national carriers, Air India and Indian Airlines. So I feel it is a bit late that the government has come with an ordinance which should have been done earlier. The main purpose of this bill was these two corporations were banned and the two companies were formed under the Companies Act. Instead, these companies were registered a year ago, but they were not put into operation by the sanction of this ordinance issued by the President in January. Sir, we have seen internationally how the megas airlines have captured the skies in different countries. In view of the open sky policy of the government, it is pertinent that we give freedom to these two corporations because till now these two corporations are parasites on the government of India. They cannot have their own funds. They would borrow funds even from the government of India. The government of India has to stand as a surety internationally. Now, these companies are coming into existence. These companies will have freedom. They will not rely on the government for financial resources. They can go out into open market in the capital market and mop up resources. At the same time, it is said that the government has privatized them. It is not so. It is very clear in clause 9 that the control of these companies will remain with the government and the government will have freedom to give directions to these companies. Sir, we had also seen that last year the Indian Airlines made a loss of rupees 100 crores. A poor country like India cannot allow mismanagement of a government company, a public sector company, and I think it is one step made in the right direction for Indian Airlines and Air India to come out of the red so that they can rely on the public money. There are many in this country who are talking about reviewing our foreign policy option and telling us that non alignment perhaps will not hold us in good stead any more, that we are being isolated and we are being concerned in a so-called single polar world. Sir, I must say that the recent election bid which we made for a non-permanent seat of the Security Council showed that we have lost our standing somewhere. Note that everybody expected us to walk in the first round, but we are told, and I believe it, I have been reading about it, that the South Bloc had assured that there was no question of a victory in the first round for the Japanese, that we would automatically go into the second round, and that would be the stage at which we should negotiate. Sir, we know what happened. It was not a defeat, it was a humiliating defeat. I would like to say that, and replies have come very often that we started it. We divided to bid in 1994. You pressurized us, and so on and so forth. Sir, I would like to say that a government at a particular time may have a particular perception. We did believe at that time, given the circumstances, that we stood a good chance, but I would like to ask what your assessment was, what your feedback was. We had been told that 138 countries were visited by high-powered, specially selected delegations of this government, and when I, in another forum, questioned who led these delegations, who were the people who went, what their feedback was, the people, not the foreign affairs minister in the foreign affairs ministry, had to admit that they were all led by bureaucrats, former bureaucrats, retired bureaucrats, extension bureaucrats, call them what you want. You don't have the foresight to realize that if you are talking about winning over opinion in any country, you need political leadership, not bureaucratic meddling. Is this country so devoid of political leadership today? You have a consensus on foreign policy, you have all parties supporting you on these issues. Why do you believe that only bureaucrats can deliver the goods? And sir, this is my first complaint. In South Block, once you, I am not only talking of this government, but I am also talking about the national interests and the long term.